Good morning, everybody. I'm feeling a bit Madonna-ish now, having been wired up. I hope people can hear me at the back. And I'm really pleased that actually I bought a paper copy of what I'm going to be saying this morning, having seen the screen go down. You know that awful moment when you think, what was I going to say next? So apologies, I've got a bit of paper with me this morning as well. So good morning, everybody. It's so good to meet so many of you. I'm Kim. I'm here today representing Cornwall Women's Fund, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about who we are and what we do. So Cornwall Women's Fund is about investing in the women and girls of Cornwall, something that I think nobody here will probably disagree is much needed. We work together with our members and we're forming a movement for good. People that are members invest their time, their skills and their money in the fund to improve lives and inspire women and girls to live their best lives. And we know in Cornwall, I've already spoken to a number of you, actually that's not an easy place to do that. So lots of opportunities, but some really major hurdles for women and girls. Our grants are given to organisations whose main beneficiaries are women and girls. It is what it says on the tin. And we strive to take every opportunity to share our stories, share our skills and knowledge with each other and with the women we seek to support. So a little bit about us. The Cornwall Women's Fund was founded in 2020 by these brilliant women on the screen. They are the 5 founding members of the group. The group gives one-off gifts or fundraising or legacies. We collect those from people who want to contribute to us. The fund is managed by our colleagues at Cornwall Community Foundation. Thank you. They manage that on our behalf, and we allocate grants on an annual basis. Some of the events that we run during the year, we always have a day where we celebrate International Women's Day, which is held in the spring. We held a brilliant event in partnership with Truro School this year, where we had nearly 200 people attended, not just women, but largely women that came along to share their stories, to celebrate. And we also had the opportunity to have some of the groups that we had funded at that event. It was an absolutely brilliant day. We have a summer social, which is basically about saying thank you and trying to reconnect with people that we haven't seen during the year. And then we have a review in the autumn of the impact that the money that we have invested has had through those groups. So we ask the groups to come along and share their stories. There are 2 other members now, myself, you'll notice I'm not on there, and Catherine, who have joined in the last year and a half. But these women are the women that set the fund up. So at the top, you've got Amanda Stratford and Tina Bessel, Anna Jay, Isabel Down, and Jackie, whose name I knew was going to escape me, but Jax, we all call her. So there are now the 7 of us involved in running the fund. So there are 2 strands to what we want to achieve. One is for our beneficiaries and one is for our members, and both are equally important. So for our beneficiaries, as I've said, we fund projects that support women and girls. We also have invested in some research to help us to evidence where we think the grants will have most impact. All of the members, we have between 30 and 40 at any one time, choose the focus for our grant giving each year. And the main aim is about inspiring women and girls. So we use the phrase, see it and be it. So don't just think it, do it. For our members, it's an opportunity for people that are investing to network. As I said, the International Women's Day's events are always really, really good. Really good opportunity to just talk about issues that are pertinent at the time and to inspire one another. It's an opportunity for us to develop informed giving. So if people do have any available resources, they can actually understand and share with us about how it's best to use that available resource. It's about giving as a community and about making a greater impact. And I think as we heard in the introduction, it's about us working together. And it's about inspiring each other. So I joined the fund about 18 months ago because I was heading up to retirement. Hooray! I finally retired from 40 plus years working in local government, and I wanted to do something with my time. And also have been in the enviable position of having, you know, a healthy pension that I can use. So I wanted to do something that was giving something back. I know I've had a really privileged life. I've always been in work. I've had a very supportive family and husband who have encouraged me to do well. That's not the same for every woman or young girl in Cornwall. So I wanted to give something back. That's what drew me to the fund. So if you get the chance, come and have a look, pick up a leaflet and find out a bit more. So in 2021, the fund worked with a group of researchers from Oxford University to understand the levels of need across Cornwall and Isles of Scilly. I had a quick conversation with John about how some of the data that we rely on is quite old because it takes ages for the national data to feed through. So we wanted to do a bit of more current research to identify where the need was. And that was about helping us to identify the areas where the Cornwall Women's Fund donations could make the biggest impact. And it isn't always obvious, and it's not always the obvious places that need the investment. So the researchers also consolidated the existing research, which was fairly limited into what women and girls need. There's a lot of very generic research available, largely about the predeterminants of bad health. A lot of the research comes from a health basis. We wanted to look specifically around issues around gender. And members voted on the focus. So the last year we have specifically supported perinatal mental health in women because we had identified that was an area where women were really struggling. And in 2025, we are celebrating 5 years of being in place, and to celebrate, we are looking to make a special award of £5,000. We're largely targeting some of the projects that we have already supported. We're in the process of shifting to become a charity and ending what's been a very successful relationship with Cornwall Community Foundation. In order to do that, we need to make the most of the money we've already raised. So we're looking to do that. And our members will be helping us to decide which projects that we invest in. So in terms of women's mental health, I mean, I'm preaching to the converted here, I'm sure. We know that the demand for services is very high and is rising, particularly post-COVID. And Cornwall has got a very low score in terms of people that access perinatal mental health services when they can get them. Also, looking at the issue of tackling poverty, we know that this is a specific issue for single mums and those that are more vulnerable to poverty, which is a growing group. Again, I don't need to tell you that. So we funded funded projects that were about supporting Cornish women in getting and maintaining employment. It's absolutely vital. And it's not just the getting, it is keeping that employment. We've supported projects that help to tackle domestic violence in the community, where we know the main problem is around gender inequality, and where we know support is high. I'm not saying that domestic violence just relates to women, it does relate to men, but there are specific issues that make it more difficult for women. And a real issue, and a number of projects that we funded have looked at this, is the digital divide. So we know that there's really inequality in the availability, accessibility and the use of digital. Cornwall's working really hard to try and shorten that gap, but it is still an issue. And again, we need to close the gender gap around that area. So I referred to some of this as we go through. This is the group that we supported, KBSK. If you haven't heard of them, have a look online and see. Absolutely brilliant charity that support largely young women. There are some younger men through the arts to develop confidence, and the success stories that have come out of that project are absolutely brilliant. Our projects that we've supported have helped people to develop parenting skills, to build confidence and self-esteem. Keep referring to that. It's a key area that we want to concentrate on. Train in STEM skills. I don't know if everybody knows what STEM skills are. I've had to write it down because I didn't myself. Science, technology, engineering and mathematics. So not courses that would ordinarily attract young women. But we're specifically targeting that. As I've said, support to perinatal mental health, developing employability skills, and improving the diversity in volunteer and trustee representation as well. So I've mentioned this briefly. Our fund has 30 to 40 members at any one time. We're looking to grow that, so please, if you're interested, pick up a leaflet and take it away. In the last 5 years, we've given over £50,000 in grants. That is not an insignificant amount of money. So that has directly affected the lives of over 200 women and girls, both directly and indirectly through their families and colleagues. And we've shared with members the impact of their giving. So actually bringing people together to celebrate the impact that what might be a relatively small amount of investment they've given can have a huge impact on people's lives. And I mentioned KBSK. There's a quote there from Addy about the impact that it had on that organisation. So this is just a quick photo. It's one of the nice moments. It was our International Women's Day celebration in 2023, where the theme for International Women's Day was about embracing equity. It was held at Newquay Orchard, another great organisation that we are working closely with. So these are some of the things that people have told us have made a difference. Actually hearing it from individuals and seeing the joy on people's faces, I think, says it all. At the International Women's Day event earlier this year, a group of girls came along. They had been involved in one of the STEM projects. They had entered into the national competition around building Lego. The absolute joy on those young girls' faces, and they grew. And the teachers that were with them were saying they had grown in confidence. They were there, they were talking to a room full of people very confidently, telling their stories, and you can't bottle that. So some really lovely quotes that help us when we're struggling to think what are we going to do next, to really remember why we're doing what we're doing. So a couple of things. One is about what we want to do, and one is an ask to all of you here today or to your friends who may not be here. So we want to increase our membership so we can have a greater impact. So 7 of us, we're quite busy. We do use the extended membership, but we can always do with more. So if you know somebody that might be interested, please take a leaflet and tell them about us. We want to reach more women and girls with inspiring stories. There are so many out there, but we're not good at celebrating them, so we want to do more of that. We want to reach more non-for-profit organisations who could benefit from our support, and the other thing we're trying to do, which is a new step for us, is to increase our support from local businesses. So we've relied on individuals to invest, but we're looking to work with local businesses to see if they will support us as well. So the asks of you, choose us as a WI listed speaker, or any other groups that might think you've got an audience that would be interested in what we're saying. Share our information with the people that you know, the organisations you know. Support one of our events and meet the members. So say there's nothing as powerful as actually talking face to face and getting that energy back from people. Join us as a member, or make a one-off donation. Join our Facebook group, we're getting very modern now, or follow us on Instagram, and the links are there if you would like to know more. Thank you.